Welcome back to Python MC. In this section, we're going to show you functions returning values. So what does that mean? Well, we've created functions before. We just haven't shown you how they can return a value. So we're going to create some basic functions for making calculations. So we're going to create a function called adder, def adder with two parameters, x and y, then a colon, and then we're going to return x plus y. Simply put, we're going to return that value. We're not printing it. We're not doing anything else with it. We're simply returning it. We'll show you what that means. Now, we're going to create a similar function for a subtractor now to subtract x is y from x, so x minus y. And again, we're returning the value. We're not printing it. We're simply returning it. So let's go ahead and call these functions. So we're going to say adder, 3 and 5 is the arguments, and subtractor 6 and 2 is the arguments. So it'll add 3 and 5, it'll subtract 2 from 6, but then nothing happens because we just simply returned the value. We didn't print it to the screen, we didn't do anything else with it, we simply returned it. So it doesn't actually show up on the screen at all. To be able to, to actually see what's going on underneath the hood, we can switch to what's called console mode, which just simply shows us what happens line by line when you execute Python. And so it'll show you each line of code, the functions that they were defined, and then how we call the functions. So we can see it actually did add 3 and 5, and it did subtract 2 from 6. So we can see the results when we go into the console mode. But when we just run it normally, we don't see output to the screen. So we really haven't done anything with these values. Okay, we know the functions work, we just haven't done anything with them. So now let's assign the value of adder, in this case adder 8 and 2, which will be 10, assign that to a variable named calculation1, and let's assign the result of subtractor 4 and 5 to calculation2. So you can see, again, when you go into the console mode, it has executed that code. So it's executed the function, it added 8 and 2, and assigned the value 10 to calculation_1, and it executed subtractor, and so subtracted 5 from 4 and assigned that to calculation2. Pretty straightforward. And so what's happened is we've just simply assigned these values to the variable names, but we still haven't done anything to print that to the screen. We've just simply executed the function, it's returned that value, and that value has been assigned to a variable. If we actually want to print this out to the screen, we could simply say print, the result of calculation 1 is this, and print, the result of calculation 2 is calculation 2, and then we'll actually see the results on the screen. So again, what we've done here is we've created two functions. We've then, returned the value and then assigned that to variable names. So it's simply we've returned the x plus y for the function called adder, and we've returned x minus y for the function called subtractor, and then we assign that to the variables calculation 1 and 2. We printed that to the screen. Pretty straightforward. In the next section, we're going to break this code. We'll see you again on Python MC. Python MC.